Good morning. Good morning. This is Binyam on the Checkin In podcast. Welcome to this episode. Today is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. Wednesday the 22nd. That's right. Wednesday the 22nd. Good morning, Brandon, my friend. How are you? 22nd of September 2021. This is the 58th episode of the Checkin In podcast, and I'm so thrilled to see you guys. Thanks for being here and spending a few minutes with me this morning. As you can see from the weather behind me, it is quite overcast and foreboding looking, but hey, it's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. I'm not sure where this podcast finds you today. I'm hoping you are well. I'm hoping you're encouraged. If not, I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here because one of the reasons I love sharing my life, my experiences, my growth with you is because I like growing in my own context. I like seeing myself go from point A to point B, and I like encouraging others to come along. And in my deep friendships that I've had, it's been really fantastic. Hey, I still drive Uber. However, William, I am taking a pause, and I'll tell you why in the midst of the podcast today, because I'm going to answer that question. So exciting. Yes, I was just going to say that amongst my really close friendships, one of the beautiful things we've really enjoyed is watching how we're growing together. We're growing together in our friendship. We're growing together in our personal growth. And this does not happen by accident, I always say. This happens by intentional application. I was saying, how do we do the three things we love doing on this podcast? Number one, how do we become more aware of ourselves? How do we become more aware of who we are and how we're going through this world? Number two, how do we extend kindness and patience to ourselves even as we're in the process of change and growth? And then number three, how do we experience more happiness and goodness amongst my group of friends that I spend time with? Such a rich experience in the last couple of years that we've experienced together, and I want to share that with you guys as well too. And that's why I'm so thrilled you're here on the Checkin In podcast. Thank you for joining in on this 58th episode. Today's question we are answering, my dear friends, is this. Oh, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, William. The question we're answering today is, how have you stepped out of your comfort zone this week, this month, or this year? And man, do I have some things to share with you guys. Oh, this is so exciting. So that's why I'm thrilled you're here. How have you or how have I stepped out of our comfort zone this week, this month, or this year? This is one of those questions that has to do with our present. Where are we at right now? How are we experiencing life in this moment? You know what I think of this as, my dear friends? I think of it in the following way. I think of it as how we are able to savor life. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you taste something so good, it's like so scrumptious, so delicious, and you just can't scarf it down even if you're hungry. You're like, I gotta slow down and actually enjoy this because there's something really beautiful. Uh, and that's the beautiful part about it. I'm being asked if I can step out right now for a guest request. Not at this moment. But you know what? I'm going to make myself more available in live streaming because I used to do it a lot more often once upon a time. I'd like to get back to that again. I definitely want to make myself accessible to you guys. And so in that context, I definitely will. This is the podcast where I just want to get through the question and answer and encourage you guys to participate along the way too. So if you wouldn't mind, just continue to interact with me through the chat here and I'll read out the appropriate chats. Step out of your comfort zone. I swear, brother, I'm a friendly camp. I'm sure you are, my friend. But this is the one where I also want to feature our agenda on self-growth. This is one of those times we're committing to that. I would love to connect with you, dear brother, though. So please keep coming back. Send me a message, but I would love to facilitate you when I'm doing a live stream. But I'm thrilled you're here. So here is what I'm thinking about as I think of this question. How have you stepped out of your comfort zone this week, this month, and in this year? And I think your encouragement there saying, step out of your comfort zone. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm working on. Because one of those things I really appreciate is controlling, like being in as much control as possible. And I think I'm not the only one who is this way. A lot of us are in that zone where we want to be like, we want to have sort of control of how things are evolving. When things get out of our control, we get a little bit nervous, we get a little bit uncertain, and it is kind of challenging to be able to say, okay, how do we move forward in this space here when we don't have any guarantees? For example, there are some certainties that we need in life. It's very certain that we need to eat and drink every day and get some rest, right? So these are some of the certainties we know we need. In the absence of these, we're not going to do very well physically, emotionally. Um, these are some necessities that we need. And so we want to be certain about these things. And so this is where we like to make sure that things are taken care of in our life so that these things are looked after. Because if we don't have these things, we're not going to do very well. There are some other things that are less important than these three, like where you're going to live, who your friends are. Like those are still important, but not as important as this life and death certainties that you need. Comfort zone, though, stepping outside of that comfort zone in the realm where you are unfamiliar, where you are uncertain of how things are going to evolve, is a really scary thing. It's a scary prospect to step out of that space where you have gotten accustomed to having control. Why would anyone want to do that? I'll tell you why. It's because we want to grow. Because when we are in control of things, when we can almost call the outcome from the beginning, because we're so familiar with how things are going to go, we tend to fall into this groove. We tend to fall into this pattern where our growth can be stagnant because we don't have to keep stretching. Growth, Salam Mickey. The growth takes stretching. Growth takes us out of that comfort zone into the uncomfortable zone where we are having to face a whole bunch of experiences. I wonder if this isn't why, for example, many of us do not love the idea of traveling in foreign countries whereby we are not guaranteed of the outcome. We're basically flying to the unknown, especially if you're going to be outside of a resort sort of a setting. If you're in a resort, man, they take care of a lot of things for you, right? They take care of your food, they take care of your accommodations, they take care of your entertainment. You don't have to worry about a lot of things. You're still in your comfort zone. You get there, you are pampered, you're lavished, yes. But for those of us who are tickled or have experience with traveling, like backpacking, for example, and trying to figure things out along the way, don't be at the finish line and wonder what if. The beauty of life is that it's not fair, even your odds. I like that. Yeah, Dean, I can see that for sure. Um, I'm called SUV MSN. Brandon, I see you there as well too. So, yes, I was thinking about how for those who enjoy traveling, but off the beaten path, if you will, the ones who enjoy traveling in the new lands and who are open to experiencing new experiences by way of meeting the people, having the pockets pickpocketed and losing that. And hi, Ollie, good to see you, my friend. There are a bunch of factors for those who go traveling in that sort of a setting where they are so outside of their comfort zone. Isn't that an amazing view, Brandon, behind me? I do love and appreciate it and love sharing it with you guys. Yes, so that is super, super uncomfortable. What does that look like for us to be embracing this uncomfortable zone in life? The question again we're answering for those of you who are coming in is, how have you stepped out of your comfort zone this week, this month, and this year? Most of us avoid stepping out of our comfort zone because we like things consistent. We like things in the zone of expectancy where we're like, yeah, this is what I expect to happen. We go to work, we want to sit down, we want to do our job. We don't want anything uncertain to happen. I'm thinking about those individuals who live all over the world, in the majority of the world, usually in third world countries, for whom life is in this uncomfortable zone because they're not guaranteed food, they're not guaranteed water. They got to fight every day to try and make that happen. Whereas for most of us in the developed world, we are just comfortable that way. We can sit back and have all these things come to us. And so we don't have any discomfort about that. We don't have any uncertainty about that. I'm terrified on stepping out of my comfort zone. What if too much changes and I can't go back? Great question. My dear friend Mickey, on that tone there, that's a great question. What happens if we step out of our out of our comfort zone? Let's try that again. And in stepping out of our comfort zone, it changes drastically in a way that we didn't want it to. Well, that is part of that dynamic. Yeah, isn't that a great view, Reese? And SUV man, I'll get to you in just a second here. Um, the risk when we step out of our comfort zone is that we're literally giving up control of the outcome. It's a huge gutsy move. But the reason I think that most of us do it, the reason I do it is because I want to grow. And the place that I found consistently that I grow to become a stronger, better version of me is when I step into that uncomfortable zone, when I'm uncertain of the outcome. And the consistent part is we're going to face whatever it is that's coming our way. It may change us in a significant way, but I believe in most of the cases, it changes us for the better. It changes us because the challenges that are proposed, the challenges that come up, are ones that we have to overcome. And so, Mickey, as you're facing those scary things, it's daunting to be able to say, what if things change more than I can control? That's, I think, the thing that propels most who say, I'm ready for this, and they step into that zone. It propels them to that spot where they're like, I'm ready for whatever is coming. And we step right into that. And that's a huge thing to be able to make ourselves available for that kind of a change, because in the outcome, we're still aiming for something better. And I'm going to share with you how I stepped out of my comfort zone in a huge way, in a scary way that you're going to see, wow, that was like big, Biniam. So SUV man is saying, I'm called SUV man because an SUV was already taken apparently. So Brandon's story, SUV man, he's got an amazing story, and we're gonna be featuring him on one of my podcasts here in an interview. I'm looking forward to that, Brandon. But it's a story that you'll want to be a part of, to hear how inspiring it is that he's where he's at in life, pursuing what he's pursuing. And I would say he's one of those that's really living outside his comfort zone. Imagine a competent, athletic young guy in his early 20s, promising athletic future. I think it was basketball that you were in, wasn't it, Brandon? You were really into basketball and other sports. And he gets broadsided. He gets T-boned in the vehicle that he's in. And he sustained significant brain damage, and now he doesn't have the dexterity or the athleticism he once did, and yet he's still pursuing working out. He's still pursuing sharing his message. He's a spokesperson for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's an amazing story, so I can't wait to feature his story. Mick says, a person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. What a great thought. Yeah, that's a really good quote there, Mickey. I appreciate that quote. Whew. So, great question again, Mickey. For many, I think they share your concern. If I step outside of my comfort zone, what if things change in a way that I'm not happy with? What if things change in a way that you can't go back to what you once had? My thought is that as human beings, we are in a season of continual change in life. There's changes coming at us every day. And the person who we were like a year ago is not the person who we are now. We continue to evolve and change as we learn new things. And yes, I was talking to your mom as well, Brandon, about the podcast. Yes. Good morning, my dear friend Tate. Good to see you. We're continuing to change, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's a beautiful thing how we evolve and change over time. It shows that we're learning, we're acclimatizing, we are referencing, we are like seeing some significant things coming into our mix that are really important. And so I think change is just one of those things that we are going to face no matter what is coming our way. And the best way to go forward is actually just to embrace that change and say, here's what could be. Here's how we're going to, as it were, take the bull by the horns and steer ourselves forward in life. Because I sure didn't tell you about working with MAD. But I don't think so. No, I saw that in your news reports, Brandon. That's how I knew that you had been working with MAD as well. How's everyone joining in? I'm so glad to see everyone coming in. Hello, Alden. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? All right, so let's get on to the question. Again, the question for those of you coming today, we're answering the question: how have you stepped out of your comfort zone this week, month, or year? What is a scary question to ask, especially for those who are averse to change, like me? I do not like change. Let me tell you, I resist change. I hate moving, for example, and so I try to move into contexts where I don't have to move again. And yeah, so I am intentionally looking for ways of how I can resist the kind of change that I'm uncomfortable with. And for me, I hate changing places where I live because I've done that for all of my life. I've moved over and over, and each time it's just been like I felt like I was transplanted out of a really good context into another one, and then I had to make a really good place in the place where I was. I hate asking for help, but I couldn't pay bills, so I had to ask for financial help. That's a tough thing, isn't it, Tate? Oh my goodness. Oh, that is a tough one. And I've definitely been there before. I've definitely had to reach out to my one brother, for example, and say, hey, listen, it's a tough one this month here. Could you stretch yourself and help me out? So I definitely know what that's like too. So I feel, yeah, that's an uncomfortable zone. It takes massive stepping out of your comfort zone to express that kind of need, right? So I'm being asked, hey, how are you, Ollie? Good to see you there as well. And why are my viewers not going up? I'm not sure why they're not going up, but I'm not concerned about that because I know that this is going to serve someone at their point of need, whether it's one person, whether it's five people, whether it's 5,000 people. I am totally okay with that. And so, yes, I am. I'm totally okay with the viewers that we have right now. I'm thrilled and thankful for every one of you guys. Even if there's no one here, I would still be doing this. I would still be doing this because that's where I want to. It's really helping me. Thank you. You're so welcome. It kind of felt like I failed in life, but I see how everyone goes through the tough times. Honestly, when we are going through those uncomfortable zones, it does often feel like we are out of our control and we are kind of losing in the game of life. I was playing a game with my siblings here last night. My two sisters and my one sister's boyfriend. We were playing the game Monopoly. So much fun. And it was a long game, but that game for me continues to communicate how life can be pretty harsh, how like you're trying to stretch your means as best as you can to survive, and yet how sometimes, because of factors beyond our control, we don't have that, right? Hello, dear friends. Good to see you all coming in. I'm so thankful for you here. Welcome to the Been Checking In podcast. So that is why I believe this question is so timely. And let me share with you my response into this question here. Tate, I appreciate you sharing vulnerably. That was really, really helpful. Hey, Benny, do you go shopping often? I don't go shopping often, no. Hello from your house, Brandon. Hello, sir. Hope you're well and hope you're blessed. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love, you guys. Listen, here is my response to how have I stepped out of my comfort zone this week, this month, this year. Let me start off with this week. Can I tell you guys, we're coming up on almost a couple of weeks now when I have not been driving for Uber. Maybe 1 week. I think it's most likely 1 week. Yes, tomorrow is 1 week when I haven't been driving for Uber. Now, I'm still driving for Uber. What are we talking about today? We are talking about the question, how have you stepped out of your comfort zone this month, this week, or this year? Like, how have you stepped out of that comfort zone that you and I so much love to stay within, right? So that's what we're talking about. Here's my answer. I hate shopping, says Tate, because I hate spending money. So when it could go somewhere else, I know, but that's kind of like life, isn't it? We kind of have to apply ourselves. Here's how I've stepped out of my comfort zone. My friends, listen carefully because this is kind of like, ah, this is really happening. So for me, how I've stepped out of my comfort zone, most of you know that I'm an Uber driver. I'm an Uberologist. I kind of playfully call myself, but I've taken a break from driving Uber for a specific reason. And it's massively scary. This is me stepping out of my comfort zone. Before I was I was still driving for Uber. Love my job as an Uber driver. I'm thrilled with it. I'm not quitting driving for Uber. But here's what I did. Oh, it's so like, I was driving for Uber. That was my comfort zone. I was doing really well at the job. I've accomplished a lot of success as an Uber driver. I've had some partnerships with Uber corporate. I've been able to touch a lot of people's lives in significant, massive way. And yet, as much as I enjoy it, and as much as it was sustaining me and my family, I was only staying at a certain level economically. I'm like, this is great, but I want to move on. I want to move forward. I want to grow. Oh, this is the painful part. The painful part was this. I wasn't able to focus any time on this business that I've been putting together on the side, that I've been wrestling with, and I've been wanting to see become my main source of income. Now, if you guys have heard anything about my story, I've got 5 items on my accomplishment manifesto list is what I call it. My big goals that I want to experience this year. Massive, massive. And so I'm striving as best as I can to keep up with it. So far, I've been able to post almost a mom series or memorable Uber moments a day. That's all in check. but I haven't been able to like do much further progress in my business. So it's always this tug of war, if you will, between my business and my job as an Uber driver. And my job as an Uber driver kept me in that zone of comfort where I'm like, okay, I'm still having income coming in, but it's still keeping me only at a certain level here. And I've got big ambitions of where I'd like to go to. And so that's really important for me. And so, this is a tough one. Tough one. Oh, this is like, it grips me really deep because I'm in this uncertain zone right now. Can I tell you how I'm in the uncertain zone right now? My dear friends, I'm in an uncertain zone because I got no guaranteed income coming in right now. It's coming to the end of the month, and I have decided to stop driving for Uber, just cold turkey, not permanently, but just for now until I get my business running, to focus full time on the business. And why this is scary, this why this is such a step out of my comfort zone is because I'm not guaranteed of the outcome. I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to be even a success. So when I made such a drastic move and not driving for Uber and getting income that way and moving towards this over here, oh, this is kind of like a scary place where I do not know what the outcome is going to be. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Is like stressful, and yet I'm walking through these doors. I'm walking through them with such confidence, saying, I don't know the outcome. It could go very bad here. I still have responsibilities I'm supposed to be attending to economically, but this is what I need to do so I can get to the next level of my commitment with my business and what I'm trying to accomplish there. Talk about stepping out of one's comfort zone. Tate, do you see why I can relate to you? I can so relate to you because this is, oh my goodness, this is so like, I'm still feeling the heart palpitations whenever I think about this. It's like, it's kind of like stressing me out, but stressing me out in a good way. I'm like, I need to move this way. It's like one of those big decisions that I'm going to look back on and say, something happened here. You're seeing me in this moment right now, again, guys, in this zone where I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. Oh, but here I am, kind of going forward and applying myself to it. So this is what stepping out of my comfort zone looks like. For some of you, it might be a little bit different. For some of you, it might be talking to a stranger. You see me talking to strangers, and you're like, I can never do that, and I just do that really well. Like I can just go up to a random stranger I've never met and start having a conversation, and within 5 minutes, we'll feel like besties. For example, that's one of my skills, right? For some of you, it might be talking in front of a crowd. You're like, hell no, I can talk to a stranger, but I'll never stand in front of a crowd. That is not my jam. That is stressful. That's stepping outside of your comfort zone. For some of you, you're saying, I never, I could talk in front of a crowd. I could talk to a stranger, but I could never be on a recording. Like I'm doing my voice or my image. That is stepping out of my comfort zone. And when you first do that, you're like, holy crap, this is like so outside my comfort zone. And you're like, what the heck am I doing? This is so beyond what I am used to. For others of you, stepping out of your comfort zone might look so different. It might be, I don't know, like it might be going to the gym on a regular basis, and you feel really conscientious about that because you have body image insecurities. And so you're like, this is stepping outside my comfort zone to be seen this way. And to try and work on this aspect of my life, you might feel that guilt, that shame, all that kind of stuff. Dang, 1,000 likes. I see what you're saying, but you have that friendly voice. So it's keeping people. I'm grateful for everyone who's here. I really am. So, what does stepping out of your comfort zone look like? Tate was sharing this for him. It was really stepping out of his comfort zone to ask for help financially. That is huge. That's like vulnerable, isn't it, Tate? And I've totally been there. Attention is easy, it seems, when you have a calm voice and you're well spoken. Why, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the encouragement. And that's why I like doing what I do, because I want to encourage you guys in your own stories, in your own walks. I want you guys to be built up. I want you to be served well. And so, with whatever I'm able to bring to the table, I would love to be able to inspire and encourage you guys in your own walks, in your own life, in your own experience of life. That would be fantastic. For me, I was just sharing that my big way that I've stepped out of my comfort zone. Oh my goodness, my friends, it is, I can't describe for you how scary of a place I feel like I'm currently in. I feel like I'm in that unstable zone. It's really daunting. Can I tell you that way? It's super daunting. Remember 2 years ago, I told you I was sleeping in my car. Tate, that is amazing. So you've come a long way. Tate, what did it take for you stepping out of your comfort zone to see that huge difference of where you presently are from when you were sleeping in your car? Then let me know what that huge shift there for you was. I would love to hear. That's a huge story there. Man, I need to have you on my podcast too, Tate. That would be amazing. But for me, yeah, stepping out of my comfort zone is sort of like doing what I just did. I would not encourage people to do what I just did. Honestly, I love your bow tie. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, for me, stepping out of my comfort zone is something I would discourage many others from doing. Like to do what I'm doing, I would not do what I did if I did not know for sure what my skill set was, if I didn't have a really strong awareness of what makes me me, if I didn't have a strong awareness of what my skill set is with people, if I didn't have like this opportunity that I've had with you guys on my social media who have given me tremendous feedback, tremendous encouragement, tremendous love. And I just feel like you guys have really lifted me up by way of saying, Binyam, you have something that's so important. And we want the world to basically experience that. That for me is huge confidence booster that says, yeah, I think I can make such a drastic step as not quitting, but stopping my one source of income to shift totally into another one. As I launch off into the unknown, like I said, I'm not certain that I'm going to be a success. I know that when I connect with people in the context of business that I'm wanting to put myself out there, and stay tuned for that people are going to be served really well. But I struggle. Honestly, can I share with you something really vulnerable for me? I personally struggle. Um, I was seeing Tate say, you should see him in his hoodie attire. True story. People who see me without my bow tie are like, hey, you also look amazing when you're just casual. One of the ways I really struggle, guys, is I'm not confident in my sales ability. I don't think I'm a good salesman. So many have said to me, Binyam, you're like an amazing salesperson. Like I would buy anything from you. And I'm like, really? Like I don't see that. But yeah, it's not my forte. It's not my forte. So this is massive for me as I step out to do my business, like solely my business right now, when I have no clients at all, when I'm still figuring out what my business looks like, when I'm already like second guessing my sales ability because I'm not sure I'm a good salesperson. Oh, it really beats, like my heart is like, ah. And so you could tell me the pants I'm wearing. Hello, Clay. Nice to see you, my friend. Oh my goodness. So this is me in this current season. This is a very fresh question for me. This is one that it's hitting me at the core. This is you guys seeing me uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable about this. I like things to be sure, especially when it comes to my income, especially when it comes to what I'm having coming in economically. And so, I have no idea what this is going to look like, but I'm sharing this with you guys because I want you guys to come along for the I want you guys to come along for the ride with me. Clay, this is actually my podcast, my daily podcast that I do every weekday, the Checkin In podcast. And this is the podcast where I do three things. The three things that I really value are growing an awareness of myself, like I was doing today with you guys, saying I'm aware that I'm super uncomfortable right now. I'm aware that I am sort of walking on thin ice because I have no guarantee where I'm going. I'm aware that I'm going to grow through this experience. I'm aware that I'm doing this intentionally and voluntarily, that I'm walking into this unknown zone, this uncomfortable zone, and it makes me really fearful in some way, apprehensive, anxious, all of those things. But I'm doing this because I feel I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow. CJ, thank you, CJ. I appreciate that. So yeah, that is where I'm presently at in life right now. And I'm sharing it with you because I want you guys to see what it looks like when we apply ourselves in these ways. For me, I'm not an expert in this growing process. I think we're all growing and changing it at the same time. I don't think I have all the answers. And I have a lot of insights, yes. But as I have a lot of insights, I also want to share those with you. And when I don't have insights, when I'm like actually in the ring with you guys trying to figure things out, I want to share that with you and say, this is me saying, I have no idea where this is going to go, but here's where I'm going right now, intentionally. And I value that because in the midst of me sharing with you guys, it's like me saying, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to share this part of me with you, my uncertainty, my worry, my concerns. Because in doing so, I think there's something that happens when we connect even more. Before we can connect at a really intimate level in our friendship, in our collaboration, we have to share with each other some things. What are some ways to handle anxiety? I'm being asked. It's a great question. I would say talking about it is a really helpful start. Talking about it, processing it with yourself, but also processing it with a safe person so that they can help give you some more awareness of what's going on around it too. That's probably what I would suggest for you, my friend. My dear friends, I'm so grateful for this time we spent together. I hope to see you again tomorrow for another episode, for episode 59 on the Checkin In podcast. This is Biniam signing off, saying have a fantastic hump day. Bye for now.